you people are passing as grown-ups?
This is The Woody Show.
My name is Doug.
Well, Gina's grad school. She's into a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Very curious about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, she's certainly not unique in the fact that she is way into all this, like, real crime.
No, but, like, the weirder and darker, the better.
Podcasts, TV shows, Datelines, all that stuff. All the documentaries.
Yeah.
Soothing for you.
Yeah.
I just like to know about it. And I'd like to, and I not only do I want to protect myself, I want to protect you because I care about all of you.
Have you ever had that wonderment that I always have when you're at the grocery store? You think, I wonder if I've ever been next to a serial killer.
We're going to get into that, Greg.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, we are.
Yeah, so we figure if there was any week for this particular topic of Gina's grad school, serial killers, it would be today. It'd be this week. Yeah. So Gina's grad school, serial killers. Let's learn more. Gina, what do you got for us?
Well, first, let's define what exactly a serial killer is. Now, some may say this is a fairly loose definition, but as the FBI defines serial murder, it's a series of 2 or more murders committed by one person, usually as separate events. Serial murder is a rare event. It only makes up, it's less than 1% of all murders in a given year. So very unlikely you will be a victim, but we will get into that and how you can protect yourself. You might be wondering, what are some common traits of a serial killer? Any guesses?
Psychopathy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Loners.
Okay.
I would think
Animal
like
killers?
charismatic.
Charismatic animal killers. Very interesting. Well, there's something called the McDonald triad that a lot of people use to link serial killers with some of their problems. This dude, in 1963, J.M. McDonald, he's a psychiatrist, he said they likely are cruel to animals. Mm-hmm. They are obsessed with starting fires. And they're persistent bedwetters after the age of 5.
Really?
Apparently so. This leads to a lot of violent behaviors, particularly homicidal behavior.
But is that because, like, from embarrassment? Or, like, what does the bedwetting have to do with anything?
They just linked it as maybe, I don't know, having some sort
Somehow
of a
it's
nervous...
connected.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like their whole life, they continue.
They become... They stay bedwetters after 5 years old.
Wow.
Now, some
Losers.
experts don't put us in that. They go on a killing spree
babies.
when you call them a loser.
I went to bed till I was 7. I'm like, good though, right? Because I stopped then.
Do you
It's a little
love
old,
setting
Sarah.
fires?
7 years old?
Yeah, I was still wearing pull-ups to bed through like 2nd grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
Can I switch seats?
That's
Stab.
I would be so ashamed.
Now, some people don't put as much stock in this McDonald triad. They do rely on profiles that say serial killers lack empathy. They're often pathological liars. They disregard right and wrong, have a sense of superiority, and no remorse for doing bad things, which I think we can all agree on.
Yeah, that all seems somewhat obvious.
Also seems like a lot of criminals just in general.
They're all in prison now. I think they have a lot in common. The United States has the most documented serial killers in the world. Any guesses as of 2020 how many total documented serial killers we've had?
Oh.
In our history, like
In the United States in history.
2000?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I was just say not as many
Okay.
because I think people think it's more common than it is. I'll say 200.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go. That makes sense. 200.
200.
plus.
I say 1,000.
You guys are living in a fantasy world. What is this, a utopia? 3,613
Okay.
documented serial killers.
But how many do you have to kill to be considered?
Two or more.
Well, as the FBI
more?
said, two
Oh,
or more.
sorry.
Thankfully, we don't have nearly as many as we used to. The number of serial killers in the U.S. was the highest from 1970 to 1990. And those numbers peaked hard in the 70s. Nearly 300 active serial killers in the U.S. that we knew about.
That's when it was so trendy.
It was.
Yeah,
It was
had-
so
trendy.
hot right now.
You had Son of Sam.
That's right. Zodiac.
Well, I kind of feel
Night
like that's what
Stalker.
happened with these mass shooters,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I wanna
Because
be
yeah,
famous.
Columbine.
Columbine really seemed to like start it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not that people hadn't shot up at school before, but
Yeah.
It became
after
a thing.
Columbine, it seemed to be more of a regular thing. Like maybe we're going through our school shooter phase. Like we went through a serial
Yeah.
killer
Yeah.
phase.
I think you're onto something.
And now
because-
maybe are we into a serial killer drought? Not that they don't happen, but not nearly as many as the 70s.
And there is a very good reason for that, because by the time the 2010s rolled around, there are fewer than 50 known active killers. And there's very good reason for that, thanks to forensic science and policing and technology.
DNA.
Oh, yeah. Now, make them a little harder to escape justice. Though I don't really want to name any of these guys specifically because they're douches, and I want to glorify their douchey existence. There is a quote.
We've heard a lot of them.
Yeah, we
There's
know.
a number of names that we know.
Yeah, and just think about those guys. But there is a quote that will ring in your head, whether you want to hear it or not, by this dude named Ed Kemper, a.k.a. the co-ed killer, who said this about his victims. One side of me says, I'd like to talk to her, date her. The other side of me says, I wonder what her head would look like on a stick.
Freaky.
Okay, terrific.
Nice.
He was
You
convicted.
should put that on a pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah, stencil that on a doily. He was convicted of 8 murders and is currently serving life without parole at a California medical facility.
Oh,
now, you
good.
think this might only be men, but I think we know better these days. Sisters are doing it for themselves.
I mean, there was the show Snapped.
Snapped.
You know, do you like that show?
Yeah,
I'm sure you do.
obviously. You don't push a broad that far.
Yeah,
She'll
but-
come after you.
I mean, that's like a one-off killing, but how many like female serial killers?
I'm glad you asked.
There was that truck stop chick.
I was
She
Eileen
was
Warner.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was executed.
She was on there. Only 10% of total murders in the U.S. are committed by women. But watch out for who cares for you, because 39% of female serial killers are nurses or healthcare workers.
Weird.
What do they call the
Black Widows.
the Black Widow? When you're
Nightingale. Like,
that's kind of what I'm thinking. You get a
yeah.
little extra shot of air in your injection.
Right. That was
Yeah.
Kathy Bates in Misery.
Right.
With all the kids. and
You're a
stuff.
dirty birdie.
Right.
As for which states have the most serial killer victims, the big 3: Florida with 933,
Jeez.
Texas 984, and California with a whopping 1,777.
We got a text here from the 714. My first boyfriend and my first kiss became a serial killer.
What?
Sweet.
I would love to talk to you.
I would love
Wow.
to do a long form interview with you.
I'm going to write back. Who was it?
Please.
right.
Speaking of
Shout 'em
California, like we talked about the Zodiac Killer, most notorious as technically he was never found.
Right.
We know this, right? Now, he terrorized people in the Bay Area in the late 60s in California, but while police suspect it was a guy named Arthur Lee Allen, they were never able to cobble together enough evidence to actually arrest him. So technically, we do not know who the Zodiac Killer was.
They always try to link the Unabomber as well because he was around the same time.
Oh,
And
interesting.
because he was into mathematics and
Yeah,
then the
being
way.
tortured in college.
Yeah.
All right, so a Black Widow is a woman who kills her spouse. Healthcare workers who are killers are called angels of death.
That's the one. Thank you so much.
Thank you, 714.
There's a new Zodiac documentary on
Yes.
Netflix.
Yep.
Which, if you watch it, you think that dude is the Zodiac for
obviously,
sure.
huh?
But then you question, where the hell were these kids 35, 40 years ago? Why didn't they say any of this crap?
Yeah, now they're coming out about
Yeah.
it. That's wonderful.
Another text here says, we all have that voice in our head telling us to kill. Some people just have it louder than others.
Oh, wow.
Do
We
we?
do?
Yeah. Turn down the volume, Sammy.
You're just not listening. You're just not listening.
Wow,
I guess not.
telling. So if you think you're safe, according to the stats, and Greg, you alluded to this earlier, I wanted to answer this question for you. According to stats from the New York Post, it has been said that the average person can unknowingly walk past 36 murderers in their lifetime.
Huh.
I went
Brush
to
and
high school.
shoulder.
That seems low.
Yeah.
Can think of all the people that you walk past.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
you're
yeah,
at the
the
mall.
I mean, they're
you're
not
at
all
a,
in.
you're at a
yeah,
ball game.
in
an event, a
huge city.
concert, or what? You're around
Yeah.
so many people. Not people that you
Thousands and
necessarily
thousands.
interact with,
Yeah.
So you
But just
think
people that you
36
wa-
is low?
that you've walked by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've shared a space with.
Yes.
I guess
Yep.
that sounds low.
I mean, think about it again.
Okay, but-
all these large things that you've been to, like events, concerts.
Well, let's
Sporting
let's
events.
do the bell curve. You're not a loner, but you're not at a festival every weekend.
Yeah.
Just like
No.
on a day-to-day basis.
But I
the
wonder
course
how
of
many
your
we've
life?
spoken
Yeah.
to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
or
how many people do you
interacted
cross with at the grocery store?
That's true.
Or like waiting in line at the
Thumping
DMV.
melons.
Yeah.
Now I'm even more scared.
Yes.
Now, I really want to protect you guys because this is something that I think that would be just tragic if any of you died by the hands of a serial killer. So try to stick to these safety tips and get your best chance going at survival. According to Snopes and She Knows and WikiHow, I compiled this list, and I want to make sure that everybody's safe. Beware of needy strangers, as killers often prey on people's sympathy to get them to drop their guard. We all saw,
I'm safe.
Silence, Silence of the Lambs.
Help me with my couch.
Yeah, help me with my couch.
Oh.
Don't do it. Don't get in the van. You don't want to be the one on the inside of the van.
Right.
Trust your gut instinct. If someone gives you the creeps, don't engage with them. And if you're entering a situation that feels like it could go horribly wrong, leave. We're the only species on the planet that ignores our instincts. Stop doing that. Never let a stranger or strange person into your home. People come to your door. They say they're a service person. You're not expecting them. Call the company. Verify who they are.
Yeah, there was just some old couple that just got. The guy got killed. The wife was like tied up and everything else, and they said they were utility workers.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what
exactly.
happened to,
Horrifying.
my
Yep.
buddy's ex-wife, a guy that just got out of prison like a month before.
Pretended
dressed
to
up.
be a
Yeah.
utility worker.
Yeah.
Well, and even with cops, ask for their badge number, call the police. You know, I'm very trusting, but I wouldn't do that. Now, avoid giving personal information to strangers. This is very hard these days with social media, but you're going to want to put a lot of these profiles on private. Don't post where you are or where you will be at a specific time. Duh. If you go online dating, don't give out your home or work address without having met them a few times. And you know what dudes love to do? Because I remember this from my online dating days. Let's take this chat off the site and give me your number and I'll pick you up. Nah, dog.
Nah, dog.
Thank you, though.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks.
This is something that I've always done, and I highly recommend it. Consider carrying pepper spray and maybe taking a self-defense class. You can spray that stuff so easily, but do make sure it's turned the right way because people do mace themselves. And finally, use your strongest body part to counter the attack. Elbows, head, knees, get them in the groin, get them in the eyes, get them in the knees. Stay safe, everybody. Happy Halloween.
All right, there you go.
Interesting.
Gina Grad, everybody, and Gina's grad school on serial killers.
Hope we learned something today.
Now I'm obsessing.
You know what this is? It's a baby laugh.
What?
Like slowed down, obviously. Like pitched down.
I hate this.
But when you know what it is, yeah. Somebody said, the person had said that their first boyfriend, their first kiss, ended up being a serial killer. Asked, well, who was it? Skylar De Leon.
All
Look
right.
that up.
De Leon.
De Leon.
Skylar.
So the most-
I would
Skylar.
like
It's
to
so
talk
not
to
a serial
Allegedly,
killer
the
name.
most notorious one is Samuel Little from Ohio, who's supposed to be the number one in America, but he said that he's murdered 93 people, but they can only verify 50, so he's not listed as number one.
Yeah. All right. Well, the girl who texted that in, I guess, is on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Ask her if she can hold through the break because we got to take the break, and then we'll talk to her coming up next here on the Woody Show. Hang on.
The Woody Show will be right back. Alt 98.7, LA's new alternative.